All right, ladies and gents, we are live. We're going to talk about an agency lead generation system and how to improve it with systems thinking. The lead gen system we're going to talk about is called Trojan Horse Marketing. You've heard me talk about it before. If you haven't, there'll be a video here somewhere. You can check that out after you watch this video, not before. Now, first of all, my name is Taylor Bensrud. I run an agency. The agency does roughly $100,000 a month. I don't think that's a lot. 2-3 years ago, I probably would have thought that was a lot, but now when you get there, it's like, oh my God, it's not that much. I've released P&L statements before. There's tons of social proof. I don't want to get into more social proof. Let's hop in straight into this video. All right. Really excited to talk about this because systems thinking is probably one of my favorite things in the world. And I had a call with someone on last week's coaching call within Agency Enlightened, an agency owner who's running Trojan Horse Marketing as one of their lead generation systems to help them sign more clients in their agency. Now, these are the initial results that they saw from Trojan Horse Marketing. Okay, now let me give you a little bit of context on what they're doing here with this particular lead gen system. Essentially, what they are doing is they defined their ICP. Okay, this is their ideal client profile. I also like to call IAP, ideal account profile. There's a slight difference between the two. They defined their ICP, and then what they did is they started basically building a list of ideal contacts, okay, that they can, ideal clients that they can reach out to. And then what they started doing is they started actually connecting with them, so sending connection request invites. So we will call this connection. And then they're actually sending what we will call a Trojan Horse video. Okay, that's it. Now this is the primary system that they are running right here. It's called Trojan Horse Marketing. In a nutshell, this is what this other video that I'm going to reference to again talks about. Now, this is his results. So he has sent out 525. He's identified 525 ideal client profiles. He's sent out 525 LinkedIn connection request invites. By the way, he's predominantly using LinkedIn as the platform to identify these ideal clients. And he received roughly a 10% connection request acceptance rate. Okay, so 62 people actually accepted that connection request that he sent over. And of those 62 people, he sent a Trojan Horse video to. Now, what is a Trojan Horse video? It is essentially a video that provides value to the prospect that you are wanting to work with because, again, you think they're an ideal client, right? You think they're an ideal client and you can really help them either grow their business, run their social media better, whatever it is that your agency does, you can help this person. And so the Trojan Horse video is designed to provide value to this specific person and ideally get them to feel enticed to be able to book a call with you. Part of the Trojan Horse video, there's a call booking link where they can book a call with you, and that's it. So this is the lead gen system that he's running. Now, he had 4 discovery calls booked out of 62 Trojan Horse videos sent, so he has a roughly 7% call booking rate. I thought it was, when I was on the call with him, I thought it was 13%. It's actually around 7%, roughly. Now, this is fantastic for, like cold email will get you less than 1% call booking rate. I mean, it's terrible. And this is a fantastic call booking rate. However, I think the time frame that he was able to send out these 525 invites was somewhere around, let's just say hypothetically 1 month. Okay, let's just say it's 1 month. Now, 4 discovery calls in 1 month really isn't a lot. That's 1 discovery call per week. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to look at this system and you have to basically apply systems thinking to be able to scale this system. Again, what this is this is just a giant machine like anything in life. Everything in life is systems, and you can think of those systems as machines. And so let's build this machine. First of all, you've heard me talk about throughput. You've heard me talk about bottlenecks. Let's just start by identifying the bottleneck, okay? So at the top, he has, of the pipeline, he has what we will call the prospecting process because he needs to be able to find these prospects. That takes time. What he's done is he's hired a virtual assistant to help him build the list, okay? So there's a virtual assistant that is able to find him roughly 20 ICPs per day, okay? So we'll say 20 ICPs per day. And I don't know how much he's paying this person, probably no more than $3 per hour, hopefully, if he hired them from the Philippines. Now, 20 per day is great. Now the VA can also send 20 connection request invites per day. Okay, so we can also send 20 invites per day. So this is equal. This pipeline here, again, the throughput of finding ideal client profiles is the same as that of which it is to send connection request invites on LinkedIn. Okay, 20 per day. Sorry, 20 invites per day is what we're trying to say here. Bear with me. I'm just going to build out this machine, more or less. Now, the next thing is the connection request rate. So how many of those people actually accept? Right now, he's only getting 2 per day. Okay, so 2 accept. And by the way, we're assuming that this VA is not working on the weekends. What I should do here is actually make this much smaller. Way smaller, because 2 a day, right? Okay, so 2 per day. Accept, right? So 2 per day actually accept the connection request invites. Now, what this means is that he can send out 2 Trojan Horse videos per day. Okay, so he can send out 2 per day. He can send out Trojan Horse videos 2 per day. Now, if he has a 7% call booking rate, that means that what? He needs to basically send 100 Trojan Horse videos to be able to get 7 discovery calls. And right now, this whole process is taking him like about a month. So just looking at these numbers here, there's 2 things we could do that are pretty simple. We could try to send more invites per day. So this number, we're going to try to increase the throughput of basically these 2 blocks right here. We can try to increase the throughput of that. Or we can try to increase the throughput of, let me actually add one more thing in here. We need to add our discovery calls. So we're going on a daily basis, so that's kind of hard. Let me think, what is it daily? Anyways, it's a very small number per day. There's no calls per day, but it would be like let's just say 0.1 calls discos per day. So basically it takes about 10 days to be able to get 1 discovery call. Okay. So now what he can do is he can try to optimize, again, the top of the funnel here, the top of the pipeline, which is the invites sent per day. If we increase that number to 100 per day, the acceptance rate, like if we increase this 5x, right, and the connection rate stays the same, that means that instead of 2 accepting connection requests per day, he'll have 10, right? And instead of 1.1 discovery calls per day, he'll have 0.5, which means he'll average about 1 discovery call every 2 days, which is much better. That's kind of where you want to get to. 1 discovery call every 2 days is really good. So this is assuming that these variables all stay constant, right? These metrics here, the connection rate, the call booking rate, the connection sent per day rate, that's assuming those all stay the same. By the way, I don't have any metrics on if he closed any of these deals or if these discos turned into sales calls. Discos just stand for discovery calls, which is the initial phone call you have with a prospect. Then you have a sales call, and then you have, of course, deals, if you close the deal or not. I don't know these numbers here. So we're just focusing on the top. But for most people don't really need to know this. They need to figure out how to get more discovery calls. Opening the door is harder than closing the deal. Okay, good openers much more valuable than good closers, in my opinion. Much harder to open a deal. So with this being said, we can either 5x this. We could try to increase the connection rate. Some of you might be thinking, oh my God, a 10% connection rate. That's not much. I mean, why is he only getting a 10% connection rate? Or and so we could try to tweak the invite message, because there's likely an invite message that is being sent to the prospect on LinkedIn. Maybe there's no invite message. You can try to split test this to be able to increase the connection rate. It's probably a good thing to split test this every, let's just say, 100 connection requests that get sent on LinkedIn. You try this message, 100 or 200 connection requests get sent on LinkedIn, you try no message. It's a good idea to constantly be split testing and just send 200 messages of A, 200 messages of B, and then review and see which one is the winner and continue with the winner. Okay, so that's fine. You can do that, but I don't think with his scenario that he's going to get a massive connection request acceptance rate increase off of split testing. Might get it to 15%, which would help, but getting it to 50%, I don't think that's going to be seen. So with that being said, I don't necessarily think the connection rate, acceptance rate is the bottleneck. And I don't necessarily think the call booking rate is the bottleneck either. Again, I have experience with Trojan Horse Marketing, so it's easier for me. I have context here. For you, you might be looking at this thinking, I don't know, that could be the bottleneck, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just going off of past experience here. 7% call booking rate is fantastic. Even greater than 5%, I would say it's still great. Okay. So that is fine. The videos he's sending are converting quite well, in my opinion. 62 cent, 4 discovery calls booked, that's fine. Whatever he's sending in the video, I don't think it should change. Whatever he's sending the connection request invite, I don't think it should necessarily change. Now, here's where I think the bottleneck is. I think that the bottleneck is right here. He's only finding 20 prospects per day, okay? And so what I told him on this call is I said, look, like, how do you think you can increase this? The easiest thing to do is just hire another virtual assistant and double the throughput of the beginning of your machine, right? Because the machine starts with prospecting. It starts with building this list. And he said he hadn't thought of that, which is fine. But when you think about your lead gen system as a system, which it is, you start to see the constituent parts that the system is made of. And then you look at the constituent parts, you isolate them, and you start to look at the data. Fortunately, lead gen system is very easy to apply this kind of thinking to because it's numbers, right? You can look at the amount of prospects that you find per day, the amount of invites that you sent, the amount of times people you reach out to per day, the amount of people that book a call, the amount of people that you have sales calls with, the amount of people that you close. You can have these metrics at every step of the funnel. It's important that you know your numbers at every step of the funnel as well. So you look at the constituent parts and you ask yourself, where do I see an asymmetric action? Where do I see the least input and most output as fast as freaking possible? Because we don't want to have a 0.1 disco per day. We want to have at least like 0.5. So that way we get one new discovery call every 2 days, which is on average about 2.5 per week because we're not working on the weekends. 2.5 per week is, we're talking about 10 discovery calls per month, which is fantastic. So that's 1 every 3 days on average. Factor in the weekends. So that's really great. We want to get this to 0.5. Now, how can we do that? Again, very simple. We just need to 5x this. Now, I said, I don't know if you have the financial resources to hire another virtual assistant, but for another virtual assistant, man, we're talking about, like, literally you can find people in the Philippines for as cheap as $1 per hour. Okay. Now, this is pretty much as low as it gets from what I understand. I've spoken, we have 5 or 6 people in the Philippines. We don't pay $1 per hour. I don't think I've ever started at that rate, but there is people that will happily work for $1 an hour that are on full-time salaries at companies locally in the Philippines making $1 an hour. Probably less. I haven't heard of less than this. So, and I've had multiple conversations with people who said that their current company, they're making $1 an hour. That's totally fine. You can hire someone for $1 an hour. And if they're working full-time, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, what we're talking about is roughly $160 per month, which is insane. I mean, it's crazy to think about that, but it's all relative given cost of living and everything else. Now, if you can afford to stomach hiring another VA and you can get this person at a full-time salary of, let me see if I did my math correctly, 8, 5, 40, yep, 160 per week, per month. Hopefully I'm doing my math right here. And you can hire 3 of these people. Let's literally just say 5 because that was kind of our number. What we're talking about is an extra roughly $700 per month. Okay. Now, That's not a whole lot. Again, I'm doing rough math here. I'm not calculating the exact total. Even if you can just afford to hire one extra person, it's going to make a big difference because it's going to double your amount of discovery calls. Every virtual assistant you hire, assuming these metrics stay the same, will double the amount of discovery calls you have, because this person that you originally hired is currently able to achieve a throughput of 20 ICPs per day and 20 invites per day. So if that's the current standard of the throughput, again, this can also be increased. So that's what's also interesting is maybe you don't necessarily need to hire another virtual assistant. Maybe what you could do is you could train your existing one to have better processes to be able to find 40 per day. Now, I don't think in his situation that's going to be possible. From my experience of Trojan Horse Marketing, 20 per day is fantastic. And that's totally fine. Now, if I think the best thing for him to do would be to hire 2, 3, 4, 5 more people. I mean, even just 1 to 2 more people would make a big difference. Okay. So, ladies and gents, that is a super quick brain dump on how you should look at your lead gen system. Now, this applies to inbound, outbound. It applies to any type of lead gen system that you have. There's math, there's numbers. It's very basic numbers, but you just have to look at it as somewhat like a pipeline. And again, it's not always linear. It's not always a Newtonian paradigm where you have this that then goes to this and this goes to this. Generally speaking, it's something like this where it's all over the place and everything's interconnected and whatever else. But you can lay it out in a way where it's not super chaotic and confusing like this. You can lay it out in an easy to understand, more or less like a funnel, if you want to call it that, even though I don't like to think of it as a funnel. And you can just look at the percentages and the conversion rates along that funnel as it progresses from list building and to connecting, to reaching out, to discovery calls, to sales calls, to deals closed. Okay? So if you found this valuable, there's only one thing I'm asking you to do. It's to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and let me know your thoughts of this breakdown in the comment section below. I was pretty excited to make this video. I'm a huge fan of systems thinking. I love systems thinking. Bringing order to chaos is secretly one of the things I love to do, even though I may not admit it, because some things that are really chaotic and I may not like to do it, but I do love it. All right, ladies and gents, thanks so much for watching this. Hit the sub button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Much love, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.